Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter, and I hope you've all had a fantastic start of the year. Now, I myself decided that on the first day of 2021, I was going to play some Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, and I was going to do whatever happened to be the daily hunt on G-Rank difficulty with a gun lance. Now, the daily hunt was the Brachydios, so I was just like, okay, so I'll just jump in a G-rank Brachydios and I'm gonna go face off against it with a gun lance, which obviously wasn't like the best decision to make because the gun lance is not super powerful in Generations Ultimate, but I still love playing it, so you know, it's whatever. But I also decided to go with a completely new build, which was also not the best decision to make, but hey, you know what? You gotta take some chances. And I figured that whatever the result of that particular hunt was going to dictate how the rest of my year was going to be. You know, just to have like some kind of predictions on what I was going to face, the struggles that I was going to encounter along the way. Now, I went with a striker gun lance with one of the strongest gun lances in the game, which is the one from Elder Frost's. Those of you that played you guys will know what I'm talking about. So Elder Frost Broadside, I think is the name of the gun lance, which is from the Elder Frost Gammoth. And I just went in there against that Brachy and I just went home. I was actually doing really, really well. But then Brachydios starts with his regular nonsense of just like spamming explosions on you left, right, and center. And eventually he got me. He got me with a blast wombo combo and he just like murdered me. I was like, okay, that's fine. We got another cart, so we'll be good. This is not even a problem. Just a little bit of a setback. Not really a problem. So I go in there again. And I don't know, I think it took me about 40 seconds or so, where basically he took a chunk of my health away, and then he cornered me and started spamming. Now, when you're playing the gun lance, and a monster is just like spamming at you, and you're playing striker, there's not really a whole lot of things that you can go ahead and do unless you happen to have like a hunter art equipped, like an ultimate evasion, absolute evasion, like just ready to go, which I didn't have. So basically he cornered me and started spamming explosions, and all I could do was sit there, block until I eventually died because there were virtually no openings until he eventually got me. And then I was like, wow, this is not looking too good for the start of 2021 right here. But hey, you know, what do Iron Breakers do? We persevere. So I went in there again with my last cart, and I found myself in a very similar situation shortly after that. I would say about 5 minutes after that, I was in a very similar situation. He had me cornered. He was spamming, you know, his explosion attacks at me, and I was like, well, I'm kind of screwed here. But I looked at my hunter arts, and absolute evasion was about to pop. And I was like, you know what? You know what, Brachy? I'm gonna roll the dice. I'm gonna roll them bones, and I poked that son of a in the face twice. And absolute evasion came off cooldown, evaded clean out of there, and then I went to work on him. I went to work, and diligently, I brought that sucker down. Now, I figured what that means for my 2021 is that there's gonna be some struggles, considering that I carded twice. There's gonna be some struggles, but if I keep that Iron Breaker spirit up, I'm going to be able to persevere and come out on top in the end. At least those are my predictions for 2021. I could be completely wrong. Who the hell really knows? But anyway, the topic of today's video is what weapon are you guys going to be maining in Monster Hunter Rise? I just thought that was a cool little story because I was really struggling. I was like, man, if I cart 3 times on the first hunt of the year, that is not a good sign. Am I right? But yeah, I wanted to ask you guys, what weapon are you guys maining in Monster Hunter Rise? Because I figured that'd be an interesting thing, considering that now we have all of the weapon preview videos out there. Naturally, a lot of us haven't actually got a feel for the weapons. Well, I would say most of us haven't really gotten a feel for the weapons unless you happen to work for Capcom in QA or something. We haven't really gotten to play these weapons, and we are going to be getting a demo in January, which is going to be featuring at least Somnicanth and Bishaten. This has been confirmed on the 11th of December, even though I kind of missed it. This was during the Game Awards. They actually tweeted out that those were going to be the 2 monsters featured. I think even in a Third Fleet podcast, we were even hypothesizing which monsters could be in the thing, and it had already been advertised, so whatever. But now that we have all of the weapon showcases out there, a lot of people have kind of like, a lot of you guys have pledged to a specific weapon. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be jumping in on the hunting horn bandwagon, and I don't blame you. That weapon for Rise is looking hella sexy. But I'm also very curious how many of you are actually sticking to sticking to your guns. How many of you are actually going to be sticking with your usual weapon and why? And if you guys could go ahead and leave that in a comment, that might be something that I feature in a future video because, I just want to have a look at what you guys are thinking about playing and why you're thinking about playing that weapon. If there's anything in the showcases that actually, got you a little bit more excited. If there's anything in the showcase that got you guys a little bit more disappointed, which I know that there's a lot of insect glaive users out there with a chip on your shoulder. I hope you guys watched the one of our third fleet podcast episodes where me and Gaijin actually dive deep in on that, which is the one where we talk about all of the weapons. Eventually we talk about the insect glaive and why there's actually a little bit more to it than what is shown on the video, even though Capcom definitely has some failures in that particular video, even with the naming of the recall Kinsect ability. I mean, come on, dude. It's almost like recall Kinsect. I could always do that. What do you mean? Are you trying to sell me on this weapon with this recall Kinsect nonsense? Vault, I could always vault. What do you mean? So it's like, I can understand that a lot of people are, a little bit upset over that, and some people are thinking about changing their mains. It's like, here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, it's a game. It's not like you're married to a weapon. It's not like you have to play that weapon until the end of times, like what I tend to do, like an idiot, constantly playing the gun lance despite all of the problems that I have with the weapon. But, I think it'll be interesting to just check out, kind of like get a check on what you guys are thinking about maining. I want to see what it's all about. And I know that some of you guys are curious about what I myself am considering maining. And I'll tell you what, some of the weapons that seemed the most appealing to me are still weapons that I've greatly enjoyed during World. So I can kind of tell you guys about it almost on a scale. I'll tell you guys right now that one of the first weapons that caught my eye was definitely the Lance. I think the Lance is looking really good, really interesting, even though some of the skills, one of the skills in particular feels a little gimmicky, the vine thing where you kind of like hook up onto the monster, because I didn't really like the fact that they kind of did the whole back hop thing when they were showcasing that, and I was like, that feels a little, a little gimmicky, the fact that they had to like do the 3 back hops to show it's what the skill actually does. Like, it'd be more interesting to see the skill in use in a more practical scenario as opposed to something that where you're creating a situation just to showcase what the skill does, right? But like the Lance definitely seems like an interesting prospect to me, probably a number 4 right now for me. Then we have the hammer, which the hammer just looks really good. Like, the hammer is always a weapon during World that I thought was friggin' amazing, and just a weapon that was just pure fun, just pure unbridled fun. Just go in there, beat the monster to death with this big stick. The thing about the hammer that always turns me off a little bit is the fact that you don't really have the means to chop tails, which you don't have to. Like, can bring other hunters with you and whatnot. It is, at the end of the day, a co-op game. But I've always liked the ability to be able to chop tails for myself. But dude, I gotta tell you guys, the impact crater move, whatever it is, where your hunter just like left hanging on the air, looks hella good. I'm super excited for the hammer mains out there. So that was another weapon that was really, really cool to see. Then obviously Sword and Shield, which is bringing back some of the really interesting moves. Like, it's got essentially a move that was in GU, which is Round Force, which is a move that I really liked because it gives you invincibility frames when you do that. But then it also has a lot of changes that they've done to it in the form of Perfect Rush's finisher, which actually launches you up into the air, and I believe that then you get to pick whether you come down with a shield or with a sword. It also has the Falling Shadow, whatever it's called, where basically it's kind of like the aerial sword and shield from GU. It's just, there's a lot going on for this weapon that I'm really, really curious to see. This actually has potential to still be my main, despite the fact that I'm still super interested in the gun lance, because, when I saw the gun lance showcase, the simple fact that you can block while they're doing Wyvern's Fire. I'm hoping that they introduce a couple of more guard points to the weapon as well. It looked like some of the moves on it were also interesting in the form of like addressing some of the weaknesses of the weapon, like the Silkbind guard thing that he has. I don't remember the exact names. The Silkbind guard thing that recovers your sharpness is looking really good. I like the move that they do, which is the aerial thing and then comes down with a slam for a full burst. That also looks very good. I've been following some of the content that Chaos Slayer has done, where he's been arguing for the potential of the gun lance just, having a universal shelling tap that would enable you to utilize the entirety of the gun lance combo, which would be really cool because, I got to tell you guys, while it's a lot of fun to do charged shells in World, it can get boring, and not being able to, go into a full bursts because you're basically losing damage. Not being able to do poke shell poke because you're losing damage, or if you're doing poke shell poke, not being able to do full burst because you're losing damage. It always kind of sucks that you're kind of like gimping your combo in ways that are kind of unique to the gun lance. But to be honest, I'm even more concerned about the scaling of shells, because up until this point they've only ever scaled with artillery and feline bombardier with the food skill, which, it gives us a ceiling that we hit very, very fast with the gun lance, and then eventually it just doesn't scale into the end game. But hey, at least there's no Wyvern Stake Blast, so there's a lot of potential there for the weapon at least not being limited in that shape, even though other weapons got similar things to Wormstake Blast, like the light bow gun, the dual blades all have mechanics similar to that, so I wish them the best of luck. But, I'm going to be checking out all of the weapons when the demo comes out later this month. I'm sure that a lot of you guys will as well. And we can kind of like analyze that once again after we actually have some hands-on with these weapons. And we'll see where things land there. But for now, just let me know how you're feeling in regards to the weapon that you are thinking about maining in Rise. Hit up that comment section, and if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you did not enjoy the video, hit the dislike button. Feedback is important. I'll see you guys in the next one. If you usually enjoy the content, subscribe, bell notification icon. Stay strong, stay safe, peace out.